Welcome everybody. Today is going to be my first video of talking about, empathic, what types, some types. I don't know if I'm going to name them all, but I am going to do some because I do have a request for mediums. What is a floral medium, empathic medium, just there are so many different types, and the crazy thing is I'm multiple, and which I didn't even honestly realize until I did my research myself. I know I'm an empath. I know I'm a certain type of empath, but I didn't realize, I thought being empathic meant we're just sensitive to everything and everyone around us, which that is a fact. But there is certain levels of empathicness. And holy shit, when I tell you I'm about 4 to 5, it makes sense how I'm so tuned in and I can get answers that I need and messages that I need to come through. I can touch, I can smell, I can see, I can feel, I can hear, the intuition, everything. Like, I didn't know how much of a broad my gift was until, till about 6 months ago. I thought I'm just one type of medium and I'm sensitive to everything around me and everything comes just in that way. I didn't realize there was names, certain names. I mean, I get that there was names, but I didn't get that there was more. I'm going to say I didn't realize there was like more than 4. Because honestly, I never thought about it. I just did what I do and I call it a day. And that's it. But I'm going to give you about 1, 2. I got about 7 here, 8 here, almost 10, I think. So I'm going to read them to you. And when I do read them to you, it's all going to make sense why you get the way you get, because you have a certain type of empathic gift. Excuse me. If you see a Spider-Man pillow in this video, it's my baby's and I'm using it. I'm going to hold it to prop my arm up. Okay. So I'm going to start off with the one I am, which sucks because it's tough to get rid of once you do a spirit session or when a spirit comes through. It's a bitch to get off you. Sometimes usually it takes me 3 days tops to get rid of the illness from the spirit that came through, that has passed on or died from of whatever, a sickness or an accident. 3 days, but in the last 6 months, it's been taking me about 7. So I can't do multiple cases. I can only do one. If it was a natural cause of death, I'll know because I won't be sick for that long. So I'm going to start with a physical empath, okay? This is a bitch to me because I honestly, excuse all my language, and I usually don't swear this much, but this is a big frustration for me because not just do I have this, but I'll have those spirits that will touch me and grab me and leave marks on me. And those are the ones that, when I was at my sister's house last weekend, I had a spirit. I was ignoring him because I was getting frustrated. I just wanted to visit my sister. I really didn't want to talk to them. I just wanted to be with my sister for once and not have to have people come through and need me for once. And I know this is part of my gift, but sometimes I just need a break and I just want to be with my sister and hang out and talk about the stuff we talk about and what we practice. And so I had his finger marks on my arm, like, no, you're going to listen to me. So I actually had finger marks on my arm. I'm actually going to post the picture later on to my YouTube. I'm going to make a video of that just as like a quick minute so people can understand when they do spirit sessions they don't just get information. Sometimes they get touched, and there's a reason why that, because it's a specific kind of part of who you are. Physical empath, where we manifest empathic illnesses. Some people don't realize that, I'm not a doctor, I will make that disclaimer right now. Some people get wrongly diagnosed in the hospital because they don't realize what they actually are. I'm not saying everybody that feels pain or feels depression or anxiety or sickness is an empath. All I know is I can't speak for anybody else out there, but I am in like a shit ton of different ways. People usually get misdiagnosed with panic disorder, chronic fatigue, I can't say the word, excuse me, don't make fun of me, chronic tiredness, sleepiness, depression, pain, and more. There's days where this drains me so much that I honestly stay in bed because I don't have the energy to get out of bed anymore. So a big part of being an empath is you have to learn to get rid of the energy after your spirit session, or when a spirit comes through, ground and center, and take all of anything that you put it in the ground. You take it and you send it through your body, through your feet, into the ground, and it actually works. So basically, a physical empath is when we get sick of an illness that the spirit has carried in life. Anger, stress, all that, you have to get rid of it and ground it and center it. Because not only do we get the sickness, but what I do is, when a shadow when a spirit overshadows me, not only do I see through my mind's eye what a spirit did. Say if a spirit was murdered, I was actually no names. I was at somebody's house, and we did somebody just kept on trying to come through, and I was ignoring them, and I said, show me a picture if you really can't get how you want to tell me. Sometimes you have to watch what you say, because they will give you what you ask for when you have these gifts. Me and another person were talking, and I took on what he was trying to show me through vision and through I was being shown in a way that I asked, how were you killed? And I became severely enraged, and I had to tell that person to back away from me, because the energy that was shown to me kind of took me over in a sense. And I know that I would never hurt anybody. I just needed that person to back away from me, because when I take on the shadowed energy of anger and hate and sickness, you really should just make people get away from you, because you get this state of mind. You're an instrument. That's what you are. You're being used as an instrument, and you're being shown as what somebody's done to somebody, or how they were killed, or how they were died. So all that affects you physically and mentally. So we just take on physical empaths take on sickness, the anger, anything like that. It's a tough one. This one is probably, by all of my empathic gifts, this one is like the hardest for me, because as you get older, your gift gets more potent, and this one is a really hard one for me. And no names again, but my nephew was actually at one of my spirit sessions at his relative's house, and he was very shocked at what he had saw, because I was actually taking on the sickness of how one of his other family members passed, and it was very tough, very tough. A flora empath. This is another one for me. I do this at my sister's house. She has these paired trees in her backyard. that actually will tell me, you know, if I'm going to take from their trees, take from what's on the ground, and don't take what you don't need. I make my brooms out of that. I make out of their trees. I make oils and stuff like that. You can make teas out of trees. You can go endless possibilities with trees. But a flora empath is someone who communicates with plants by being able to hear or receive their signals from their actual being energy. I can tell if a tree is female or male. I can actually communicate with them. You don't hear with your ears. You hear in your mind. And that sounds confusing to some because they're going to say, well, how do you hear with your mind and not your ears? That's the open capabilities that people like us have. And I know this sounds all wacky and crazy to someone who wouldn't understand it, but if you're an empath, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A fauna empath is an empath that can interact with animals. You ever hear like animal whisperers on TV? There's a show, I believe. I it's I'm trying to word how I want to say it. I have 2 cats and a dog. And how I practice that part of me is I will call them from another room, but through my mind. And sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. It's how open you want to be with them. I don't really have a lot of gift in that part with that area, but like when I hold my cats, it's like when they sit with me, it's like almost as if I can sense they know how much I love them and they love me by just the look of their eyes. I don't know if that means much, but geomatic empath. Those empaths have the ability to receive signals, transform signals and energy from soil and dirt, the earth. They know when natural disasters are incoming or impending. I get some strange things with this one. I can walk outside and sense strange things in the air, as in has to do with nature. I don't do too much with the soil and earth, not at all. When I do lay on the ground and I ground and center, that's my way of working with soil and dirt. But I do know when a storm is coming before it comes. Natural disasters. Have I ever predicted a natural disaster? No, but storms, yes. Or when people are using magic or in witchcraft or full moons come or certain moon cycles, I can sense on my skin and in my energy what other people are doing without even trying, I guess. I don't know if that really has much to do with that, but I'm just voicing that opinion. Medium empath. Ding, 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 ding. A lot of us are. We just don't realize it, but I definitely know I'm an empath. See and hear spirits. Psychometric empath. Ding, 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 ding. This is crazy because, like I said, I didn't know so many definitions of different empaths. I thought we're empathic, we're subjected to a lot of things, and we are just one. For me, I touch pictures, I get visions, I get smells, I get sight, or sensations on my skin, pain even. My daughter was given her grandmother's ring passed down to her, and I picked it up. My mother-in-law is now passed. She died of kidney failure, and I was with her most of the time in the hospital, and she was very special to me, in my heart to this day. I could cry if I keep talking about her, but I'm not going to. I don't want to put that in my heart today. My daughter was pregnant at the time after the passing, and she wanted me to hold the ring, and I touched it, and it was like, boom, my mother-in-law was right there. I could smell her. I could feel her pain that she felt when she was passing. I could see her in my mind's eye sitting at my table with me. But I don't just do that with just jewelry. I do it with pictures, the touch of things like walls or land. I guess that goes back to geomatic when it comes to land. I do, see, I knew something was going to come up when I went back to something else. If I'm on a piece of land, pictures of things that used to be there will pop into my head, like homes, or I do it a lot with Native Americans. I can be driving by in my car and I'll be looking at, some of the trees or the wooded areas, and I can see Native Americans actually on their horses, riding by on their horses. I can see their feathers. On my sister's land, I call him the chief because he comes out when the deers come out. So he's the protector of the animals when they come out to feed on the land. So I guess that you could say that goes back to geomatic. Precognitive, ding, ding, ding. The crazy thing about that is I've done this since I was 4. I want to say 3, but I remember my earliest age is 4. I dreamt about I was going to walk down the hallway, and I was in my schoolgirl outfit, my Catholic school outfit, and I was walking down the hall, and I remember looking at my feet, and I could see my stockings, my shoes, and my skirt, the plaited skirt. And I walked into my classroom, and it said Mrs. Reuter on the chalkboard, and a woman with short curly black hair, her white button up top, and her long denim dress, and her black shoes. And she said, "Hello, Sarah." And I sat down and I said, "Hello, Mrs. Reuter." Very next day I woke, I did the same exact thing, and I walked into my classroom, and there's Mrs. Reuter on the board, and there's the exact woman who says the same exact thing. I've done this all my life. I actually can map out what's coming through my dreams. I can actually tell when a spirit wants contact with me or clues given to me through my dreams. That is a big one for me, as well as the physical medium part, and basically a lot of different. I think I have some of a little bit of everything. Telepathic, empathic. Can read accurate thoughts or another unexpressed thoughts as well of others. Let's see. I have done this with my husband. I can read people. That's another form of empathic person. I'll get to that in a minute. One time, my husband and I were arguing, but we stayed quiet. And he had said something in his head, and I didn't realize he didn't say it through his mouth. I had said, "What did you just say to me?" And we were driving in the car. He goes, "I didn't say anything." I guess, "Yes, you did. You called me an asshole." He goes, "No, I didn't, but I did think it. And how did you do that?" Sometimes I spook my husband out, and I don't mean to. I don't mean to do that at all. It's not meant to do it on purpose. Sometimes it just happens like that. That was one of the main things. I do this all the time with him. It's a real pain in the ass because he does it to me too, and I don't know how, because he's a very closed-minded person. So it's like I say a thought if he thinks it, and vice versa. But the car thing that day when he called me a name, that was a big, that was the first time I think I did that with him years ago. So those are the ones that I came up with. I do have, oh yes, I do have. Okay, emotional empath. I skipped a few of them. I'm sorry. 2 of them. An emotional empath. We are ones that want to be loved, and we're very emotional when it comes to our feelings. We want to be around people, but we like our loneliness, but we don't like it in a sense as we're loners, but we hate feeling lonely. Everything is so emotional to us. Everything, trauma, loneliness, love, hate, anger, stress. Um, but when we are around a lot of people, we become loopy. It becomes really hard for us. We get rancid. We can't hear a TV on, and then a phone over there in the same room, or a radio, or people talking while over the TV. It's really hard for us, and we go really rancid. That's an emotional empath, and that freaking shit drives me insane when a TV's on and a phone's on, or I can't. It's like I can't be around a massive. If I'm at a party for like a birthday party, or if I'm at a graduation party, or things that involve me being around a lot of people, if it's family, I cope with it. I do it because I know I have to. But if I'm around people that are at a party that I'm not familiar with, I will not sit down whatsoever at a certain table. I will keep my energy moving because it's harder for things to stick to you and become emotional to you if you don't let it. So, moving energy is a big thing for emotional empaths. I do that a lot because I can't do it. It's hard for me. Claircognizant, clear knowing truths of others. Spirit guides put info into your mind. Another big pain in the ass thing for me. Also have inner knowing of info, important feelings, the knowledge of something flashing into your head all of a sudden happens all the time. To me, phone will ring, you'll know who it is, happens all the time to me. Personal things about people that they don't tell you. Again, that's not done on purpose, it happens to me. I've done it. Or what happens to me is when there is a major threat to me or my family, say like there's an intruder. I've done this before. I will explain to you what I did. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, and I don't know how I did it to this day. When something is coming and really bad, or death, I will get this overwhelming feeling of scared, paranoia, as if something really bad is coming. Like, I will get really antsy. I'll get sick to my stomach. I'll call everybody I know. I'll say it on Facebook, and I don't mean to do it. I do it because I'm looking out for everybody's safety. I know when something like this hits me, something bad is coming. Something's going to happen to somebody. Somebody's going to be very ill. Somebody's going to die. Once I lived in this place, this home, I had a big backyard. It connected to other people's yards and into the main street. And when my husband knows I get like this, I get very paranoid and I start calling people, and I put it, like I said, on Facebook. I let him be because I don't want him to have to put up with what I do. And I know he's there for me, but at the end of the day, I don't want him to have to go through what I go through because he needs his sleep. He does a lot. So somehow, one second I'm there, the next minute I'm in this man's body. But I'm on my property looking through my backyard. So I'm looking around through this person, but it was like my eyes looking through somebody else's. I guess it's hard to explain. Please forgive me on the wording. I was looking around my backyard and I looked down at my feet and my body, but it was not me. And I saw this man's shoes, his jeans, his pants, his shirt, his jacket, even his hands. He was looking around my backyard, but this man was the most vile, sick piece of shit. So I am watching this man. I'm looking through his eyes, but they were my eyes. And he's peeking up into my kitchen window. He puts his hands on my window. And he puts his nose to my window. And I snapped back to myself. It was like this. And if anybody that's ever done that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because only people like us know what I'm talking about. And I woke my husband. I'm like, honey, wake, please. There's a bad person outside. You have to wake up. He's planning to do something really bad. So he did open the door and look, but I was behind him. I was afraid. Never was afraid like that before of anybody. I'm not someone who's afraid of anybody. I do stand my ground, but I don't like to be like that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be good to everybody. So there was nobody out there. Next morning, I go out there with him. I go right to the kitchen window, because as I was doing that night prior to, I'm seeing into my own kitchen. And I could see my cabinets, my table, my floors, my sink, my bathroom door, my bedroom door to my son's room. But as we go outside and look, you see 2 footprints in front of my kitchen window on tippy toes. You don't see the whole foot because it was muddy, because it had rain prior to, and then the night was clear. It was still muddy in the heaviness. I see handprints on the window, and I see a nose print, like somebody was peering in. So that, for me, I noticed I only do that part when there is a major warning, like someone's trying to intrude. I've done that a few times in my life, and I can't explain how I do it, because I don't know how I do it. I just know I get a sense of my guard goes up, and I get really just, if it's a very dangerous one, if it's a dangerous like a premonition, I'll feel sick in my stomach. I'll get anxious, nervous, and that's when I'll know it's time to call people. It's time to warn people, everybody that I love and friends with. Be careful, something's coming. It could be coming in any direction, and I don't know. But when it does that to me, I know it's meant for my property, my home, me and my kids. But that is my information on the type of empathic people there are out there. And I know this struck a nerve with some people, and you're going to be like, wow, that's what it is. Please message me, and I can give you more information, okay? Blessed be this good witch, as well as empathic clairvoyant medium. Have a wonderful afternoon.